What's up, guys? Mason LeBrock Henderson here. This is NCIS Season 13, Episode 17, After Hours. This was another good NCIS episode. Nothing really special, but definitely more fun or funny moments in this one. They start off with a case that seems straightforward, but I don't know. I feel like I've seen this before in this show where it seems like, oh, well, this is just a straightforward case. And then something happens, there's a twist, and it's like, oh, not as straightforward as you thought. Maybe not exactly this, like, I don't know, cut and dry at first. But I have seen it before where they think they've got it all figured out, and then something happens and they have to rethink the entire case. But the way they do it in this episode is very clever. Because they start off, it seems like a simple shooting in self-defense. This guy who has a rap sheet a mile long gets shot by a petty officer he has several awards. He just seems like an upstanding guy, and he's protecting a woman who's being attacked by the guy. And so, it seems like, oh, well, he just did a good job. He shot him to save the woman, straightforward enough. And then, of course, like, you can kind of sense that, okay, that's not the end of it. And even the show kind of, they were throwing it in your face, like, yeah, don't worry, this isn't the end of it. Because McGee goes to talk to Abby, and she's like, well, that's it for now, till the other shoe drops, whatever that means. But pretty much what she means by that is, eventually something is going to fall apart, and we're going to find out something we didn't already know. And in that sense, we did. It wasn't. It was actually the woman who shot the guy because, she went to juvie and this guy was apparently a rapist. And when she recognized him, she kind of chased him down. And then he started. Whenever she hit his car with hers, he started like coming at her window, and so she shot him. And so it was technically self-defense. And even at the end, it was kind of nice how they, Gibbs didn't really want to pursue that case anymore. They didn't want to pursue, obstruction of justice or anything like that because, I mean, you kind of understood. It's not like one of those, oh, I just straight up killed him because of something he did in the past. No, like he was going to attack her because of what him or her hitting his car, and so it was justified self-defense. And the petty officer did it because, he obstructed the scene. He moved everything around, made the phone call an hour late, got his story down pat because of how he felt for her. And so it just, on the one hand, it was kind of like, well, they still committed a crime. But on the other hand, it was like, one, the guy just, from what they were saying about him, he seemed like a scumbag even now. Obviously, the fact that what he was doing to this girl in juvie made him seem like a scumbag already. But then they're trying to get a hold of his ex-wives to, tell them that they need to come identify the body. And they're all just like, no, I'm not going to. And then one of them's even like, where do I send the thank you note? So, even though it is kind of strange to see this show say, oh yeah, this girl killed this guy, but it's okay. At the same time, you kind of understand why they don't really want to pursue punishment, because what these two have been through, or at least what the girl's been through, is punishment enough. So, I kind of understand why they ended it that way, but the part of this episode that really made me enjoy it was the stuff in the middle, because it really was overall a simple case. Even with the twist that it wasn't just a simple, this guy shot this guy, it was still kind of simple when you think about it. Like, this girl shot this guy, and then this guy who loves this girl fixed the scene to make it look like he did it. And that was it. There was nothing else to it. It was pretty simple. The part about this episode that was so fun was seeing all the different members of the team and how they reacted to it. Tony wants to go on this date with this woman, and she's apparently trust funds, so she's got money, and she's beautiful, and so he's going on this date. He's trying to woo her, He's got all of this plan set in place, and slowly it starts to hit him like, wait a minute, this guy, why didn't he take good care of his gun if he's such a gun nut? And wait, how come it took him 3 shots if he's so good, if he's such an expert marksman? And so he starts to figure this stuff out while he's trying to enjoy this date with this woman. And eventually it leads to him telling her the story of this case because it's bugging him so much. So he's talking it out to himself, and that kind of runs her off because she's. It was so funny because she's like, "Here's my email." He's like, "Oh, you want to see me again?" She's like, "No, but I just want to hear how this case ends because you've been talking about it for an hour." It was funny. And then you've got McGee. He goes home to Delilah, and apparently he was. I figured this was going to become a thing when they were going home, but he was telling Tony and Bishop about how they do this download dinner is what they call it, and they have like a little timer, and they within the time they have to tell the other how their work was because they both work for the government, so she doesn't want to really get work involved in their personal lives. And so as soon as the timer goes off, that's it. No more talk about work. So McGee tells her the story of this case, and then she points out a flaw in the guy's story. The story of what he was doing, why he ended up in this spot. And so now McGee is like unable to focus because it's really bugging him. Why did this guy lie? And so he ends up like taking the dinner and setting up the scene of the crime with the food. And he's like, okay, so that. And Delilah comes in. She's upset, and they kind of have like a little bit of a fight. But then once McGee like finds out this new piece of information, she's like, wait, the body was moved? And all of a sudden now she is wanting to know what happened. And they're kind of, I understand her reasoning for not wanting work at home because at some point they won't be able to talk about it, and she's like, look what happened to Bishop and her husband, look what happened there because they couldn't talk about work to each other. But at the same time, I feel like their relationship is just, it's a good relationship. So I feel like they will be able to get past, even though McGee did kind of ruin the dinner for that night, I feel like they are going to get past it. And I'm not a person who's all like, oh yeah, TV show, I want to see relationship stuff. If you've seen some of my other reviews, you would know that. But in this case, I want to see them get married. I know that sounds really weird, but they've been together for a while. Now they're living together. I just feel like this season needs something big like that. Something big to kind of give me something to look forward to. Because most of the time they have some story going on in the background where there's some sort of terrorist or there's some bad guy who's, out for the team or, something like that. There's something going on big in the background. This season doesn't have that. You've got Gibbs' story a little bit after being shot, him struggling with the psychological effects as well as the physical effects at times. And then they've kind of brought Jean Benoit into it a little bit, but even then it felt like both of the episodes ended with, we're probably not going to see her again. So I don't know, I want something big to make me look forward to what's going to happen at the end of the season. I feel like a wedding or, I don't know, a baby. I don't know. I find it hard to imagine Delilah after the explosion. I don't know how all of that is. I know obviously she's paralyzed from the waist down, but I don't know exactly how her affected her birth canals and stuff like that are. But I do want something to happen with McGee and Delilah that will make me look forward to what's going to happen next. Then you've got Bishop, who really doesn't want to go home because of the fact that she, her house is now empty. Actually, I think she may have bought a new one, but it's empty, it's quiet, she doesn't like it, she's trying to get adjusted to it. But also something's eating her up about the case as well. And then she visits Ducky and Palmer, and they tell her some of the mysterious things that they found on the guys, with the autopsy of this guy, and now it's bugging her. She goes to Gibbs, who we see trying to eat dinner, and then like the case file is just sitting on the table, and he kind of looks at it, puts the dinner up, goes, sits on the couch, turns on the TV, and then turns it off and goes and grabs the file. And then when Bishop finds him, he's working down in the basement on something with all of the case file pictures laid out. And the reason I knew that something was up about this case, Gibbs knew from the first, like, as soon as he got to the scene, he knew there was something wrong. Because you could see him kind of like with this suspicious look on his face. He's looking at the knife in the guy's hand, and then whenever they're questioning the petty officer, he has this suspicious look on his face. So Gibbs knew something was up from the beginning, which totally fits with his character because he's that smart. But it's kind of funny to see him trying to avoid it. Like, he doesn't really, I've already thought about it a lot today. I'm just going to give my mind some time to rest. And his mind can't rest because that's how Gibbs is. Once something gets stuck in his mind, he's got to do it. So now he's looking at it. And so the really funny thing is that I expected it kind of to be one of those episodes where they're all at home trying to live lives and then they all end up going to work. That happens, but it takes a little while. Like, they're actually figuring stuff out at their houses where they're living. Tony's talking to this woman that he's dating, and he's figuring out stuff while talking to her. McGee and Delilah are figuring out stuff, and Bishop goes to see Gibbs, and they're figuring out stuff there. And it's all of them end up at the crime scene. Gibbs and Bishop show up. McGee and Delilah are already there. McGee's like, well, I guess Tony, I guess he was able to put it out of his head for the night. And he shows up in like this, I don't know, like this, it looked like one of the trucks, the tow trucks. I don't know where he got a ride like that, but he shows up. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm here too." And then as they're talking, they're trying to figure out, all right, let's take the car apart, the woman's car. And then Abby pops up. I already did it. It was funny, and that's kind of what I enjoy about the show, is that they managed to not necessarily put out great episodes, but they're fun, they're entertaining. And that's kind of what I expect week after week. I don't expect it to be always these mind-blowing episodes where you're just like, oh my gosh, man, that was a crazy episode. No, not every week. Maybe 1 or 2 weeks out of one half of a season, but most of the time it's a good episode. It's entertaining, and that's all I really want. I already watched several shows that have good episodes week after week, or have like one crazy episode and then try to calm it down because that one crazy episode leaves you feeling so, oh my gosh. So I don't mind the fact that this is just, let's just give them something entertaining, let's make it funny, let's give them a good case, and that's all I really ask. So I enjoyed this episode. What did you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what you want to see. Do you agree with me? Do you want to see something big happen with McGee and Delilah? Or do you want to see something intense happen, like this guy, terrorist pops up or something, tries to take out the team? Let me know what you want to see, and leave a like and subscribe for more NCIS. I'll see you at the next review. Peace out.